Happy Thursday, church. Thank you for joining us for this quick devotional. First of all, before we get to the devotional, just want to remind you that this upcoming Sunday, we will continue having service in our online platform, but we will also be offering an in-person service at 10:30 a.m. here in our building. Note that it's at 10:30 and not 10 as it was, but it's at 10:30 a.m. here in the building. If you plan on attending that and you have not let us know that, please just drop us a message or send us a text and let us know that you and your family plan on coming. We just want to make sure that we are set up and ready and have the room for everyone. Now, again, if you don't give me that message, you are still welcome. We'd love to have you come, but if you could in advance, let us know. That would be great. So this Sunday, online platform is continuing. This is for the next 4 weeks, but we'll also have an in-person service at 10:30 a.m. Please let us know if you have any questions about that. But for today's devotional, I want us to turn to Psalm 62. And as we return to normal, and I know it's a big quote-unquote normal, I'm left with that question, have we wasted this time or have we learned something? I think one of the greatest and most powerful things about this time has been just how many of our idols and our distractions and our false pursuits have been stripped away from us. I know in my life, so many of the things that I once did have disappeared. And as you evaluate life, you got to wonder, what was the value of that thing or those things that I was doing? And hopefully in this time, we have kind of learned what is of importance to us. And so we see that in Psalm 62. We see what was most important to David and what ought to be most important to us. Psalm 62, it says, I am at rest in God alone. My salvation comes from Him. He alone is my rock and my salvation, my stronghold. I will never be shaken. And so in verse 1 and 2, David lays out that he lays out his story. He lays out his belief statement. I rest in God alone. He is my salvation. He alone is my rock, my stronghold, and in Him I will not be shaken. Then you read verses 3 and 4, and he lays out the trial that he's enduring. He lays out the struggle that he's enduring. And so often we can say what we believe in. We can tell somebody what we believe in, or we know what we believe in, but then the trial comes, the struggle comes. And in the trial and the struggle, we are so tempted to go different directions, to find our confidence in other people or other things, or find our confidence in ourself, our salvation in ourself. And that's the temptation in the trial, is to run away from God and turn to ourself or others or other things for our hope, for our salvation, as our rock. And so that's what David, he says what he believes, he says the trial, and then he comes back to what he believes. He says, rest in God alone, my soul, for my hope comes from Him. He alone is my rock and my salvation, my stronghold. I will not be shaken. My salvation and glory depend on God, my strong rock. My refuge is in God. Trust in Him at all times, you people. Pour out your hearts before Him. God is our refuge. And so my hope for you and for me and for our church is that during this time of quarantine, we would not have turned to other false pursuits, but instead, as those things were stripped away, we would have found our rest, our salvation, our hope more than ever in God. And my hope is that as we return to normal or to the real world, that we be reminded that everything else is just a distraction, but God is the one worthy of our praise, worthy of our worship, worthy of our pursuits. We're going to talk about this more in Habakkuk 2 this week, but I think it is so important that as this time, as we slowly return to what was normal, perhaps, that we evaluate our priorities, we evaluate where we are, we evaluate where our hope and our salvation, our confidence is. And my hope is that we find that in God alone. He continues, men are only a vapor, exalted men an illusion. Weighed in the scales, they go up. Together they are less than a vapor. Place no trust in oppression or false hope in robbery. If wealth increases, pay no attention to it. God has spoken. Once, I have heard this twice. Strength belongs to God, and faithful love belongs to you, Lord. For you repay each according to his works. So all of these things that we so often pursue, all of these things that we put our hope and our confidence and our salvation in, David says they are but a vapor. It is only God that lasts. And so again, my prayer for you is that during this time of quarantine, you have learned to put your trust, your faith in the rock, your salvation, which is God alone. If not, I just pray that you would evaluate during these final few weeks and months of this time, and that you would find your hope in Him alone. Max Anders in his commentary said, "No person, pursuit, or possession should ever take preeminence over God. God alone must be the believer's trust." Who is your trust? Who is your hope? As David wrote this song, he declared that in the midst of his troubles, he was not looking to anyone or anything other than God to deliver him. David stated that his faith rested solely in God, the singular object of his trust. This solitary reliance upon the Lord was the firm foundation for David's life. The message of the psalm is clear. No matter how difficult the trial, trust in God alone. And so as we wrap up, where is your hope? Where do you find your confidence? Where is your salvation? Is it in God alone, or is it something else? My prayer for you and for me again and for us as the church is that our salvation would be found in God alone and nothing else. And that He would continue to purify that devotion, that He would continue to strip away the false pursuits and idols that so easily entangle us in this life. Thank you for joining us this week. We look forward to seeing you online or in person this Sunday. And again, our prayer for you is that you would find your hope, your trust, your faith in the God of this universe. God bless.